Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my woofing experience. So if you missed last week's video, it was kind of a story time of me as a first-time woofer and the 3 different places I woofed at. So if you haven't watched that one yet, go watch that one and then come back to this one. In this video, I'm going to go over just some things that I think might be helpful if you're a first-time woofer, some advice, I guess, or just recommendations, and just in general things to consider. So first, I did not mention this in my last video, but there are woofing programs all over the world. So I was specifically a part of Woof USA, but there is Woof Canada, Woof UK, Woof Nigeria, Woof France, like literally all over the world. They're all a part of the Woof organization, but they're separate in that you would pay a separate annual fee to be a part of those ones. So with me being a part of Woof USA, I only had access to the hosts in the States. And like when I was in Canada, if I had wanted to host there, I would have had to sign up for Woof Canada. Number 2, and I guess my first piece of advice, hang out with your hosts with the assumption that they want to hang out with you. Yes, you'll get to know them a little bit as you work on the farm, but when you have your downtime, you can definitely go do things on your own. And I did that sometimes as well. But I was also able to join my hosts and things they had going on. So going to dinner parties and meeting their friends and going to local events. And I just met some of the coolest people doing that and just even learning my hosts better. And I just felt like I got to really experience what it was like to live in these different parts of the country because I was doing normal things with someone that was local to that area versus me going to that place as a tourist. So I loved what I learned on the farm, but I equally loved what I learned from my hosts about their city and state just by hanging out with them. Number 3. This can be as rustic or not as you want. So outside of the woofer that I worked with in Minnesota, and she was also a first-time woofer, I don't really know anyone else that has done this. So I don't really know what is the norm for your typical woofer. Maybe there is no norm. But when woofing was first presented to me, it was explained that you would stay in people's homes in exchange for working on their farm. And the very first place I stayed in someone's home. So as I continued to travel after that first time, and I would always kind of randomly look at Woof's website to just see were there places near where I was. And so I was surprised the first time I saw one that, explained all the work you'd be doing. And then they said, yeah, and for the accommodation, we have a tent for you in the backyard. And I was like, a tent? Look, there are a lot of people that love camping, like truly brings them joy to go camping and sleep in a tent. I'm not one of those people. And I just feel like if I wanted to sleep in a tent, I would just go do that for free. I'm not gonna work so I can sleep in your backyard. That's my personal opinion on that. That's how I take that. Now, there's some people that probably love camping so much that that is a dream, that they could go work on a farm and then get to camp at the end of the day. So if that's what you're into, there are plenty of woofing options like that for you. But for me, look, I'm working on a farm, right? So like, I don't mind getting dirty, manual labor, being outside. I like doing outdoor work. I like working in the garden. So like, all of that part is great and I'm down to do that. But when I'm done, I just want to be able to take a normal shower and get all cleaned up and just be inside of a clean place, not in a tent. Not for me. So if you love camping, there's definitely lots of woofing options for you. And if you hate camping, like me, don't worry, there's hosts out there for you as well. Number 4. So the woofing way is that you're supposed to work 4 hours a day. And luckily all the hosts I stayed with were very respectful of that. We were all flexible. So like there might be one day where we work a little bit more, but then maybe the next day we worked a little bit less. But as I looked at different profiles, I definitely saw a lot that specifically would say they required more than the average 4-hour day. So like 8 to 10 hours a day. And I'm just like, that's just not the woofing way. One of the benefits to woofing is that you're kind of getting to travel on a budget. So you're in a new place and you're supposed to have time to be able to go explore and do other things in that area that you're visiting. One that I saw, this girl had left a review and was like, just a warning to people, they require 10-hour days. And so I left after the first day because that's just not how this works. And the host actually commented back and was like,
4 hours a day is just not a realistic experience for working on a farm. So yes, we require 10-hour days.
And I'm just like, yeah, we know that's not a realistic farm day. If you want to be a farmer, I assume yes, it's like super long hours pretty much every day, all the time. But we didn't come here to be your full-time ranch hand. Like, we're here to woof. Now, depending on why you want to woof, maybe a full day is something you prefer. Maybe you really want to be a dairy farmer and you're woofing at a dairy farm and you just want to learn everything possible. And so you're there to learn only. And so you want to spend all day doing it. So like, maybe that would be a good reason to like be okay with woofing all day. But for me, the reason I liked woofing was for in my opinion, what woofing is for, which is getting to do it all, kind of. Like, you're getting to work on the farm, you're learning these cool things, you're getting to stay there, you're getting to travel on a budget because you're staying there for free, and you also get to travel the area that you're in then. So I guess that part can kind of just depend on what you're wanting out of woofing. But for me, I wanted to get a little bit of everything. So once I realized there were hosts that weren't really respectful of the 4-hour rule, I made sure to find hosts that were respectful of that. My last point is that anyone can woof. So I had a solo profile, but you can also pay a little bit more to have a profile for like a couple, or I saw families on there. Of course, when it's more than one person, you do need to confirm that the place you're going to accepts couples or accepts families, and they usually already include that information on their profile. For me, I had to make sure I was finding places that allowed me to bring my dog, and then I was checking profiles to see what animals they had because he doesn't really do that good with big dogs. So yeah, I highly recommend woofing. I had such a great experience doing it. Hopefully the things I shared are helpful to anyone that is interested in woofing, and hopefully it will help you in finding the right host for you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about woofing or anything I didn't talk about in either part 1 or part 2. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like and all those things, and I will see you next time. Okay, bye.